Hey, congrats on getting your new saxophone, and I'm going to show you how to put it together the right way so you don't damage anything and you can get started playing as soon as possible. So first you're going to want to take out your neck strap. It might be somewhere in a compartment in the opening, or in my case it's in a little pouch on top. And go ahead and put that on. You want this part to be facing outwards, so this is backwards, this is the correct way. Next, you're going to want to get out a reed. It might come in a box that looks something like this, and usually it will come with this plastic guard on. This is to protect the reed because this tip right here is very fine and you don't want to touch it in case you break it. So we're going to get it wet by putting it in our mouth, or if you don't want to do that, you can also just put it in a glass of water for a few seconds while we put together the rest of the saxophone. So keep sucking on your reed, but I'm going to show you this next part, which is where you're going to take out the body of the saxophone. You're going to take your neck strap and hook it onto this ring right here. So it should be a little circular spot on the back. Now we're all hooked on, and then you're just going to pull this metal part, or yours might be plastic, just pull it up towards you until it's sitting nice like that. Now you're going to take out your neck and your mouthpiece and ligature. So I have 4 things: reed, ligature, mouthpiece, and neck. And we're going to start by just holding the mouthpiece, and we're going to twist it onto this cork right here. As you can see, I push mine in pretty far. You don't have to start that far, and if your cork is having a really hard time, it's not really pushing in at all, you might have something in your case called cork grease. It looks like this, or you can purchase some. But it works kind of like chapstick. You're just going to rub it onto the cork, and that will help make your mouthpiece slide on nice and easy. So now your reed should be nice and wet. And what we're going to do is just lick this plating right here, and that's going to help create a seal between the reed and the mouthpiece. If you look closely, I'm kind of stabilizing the neck against my chest, and I'm just holding the reed like this. And then with these 3 fingers, so I use my pointer finger and thumb here, just to slide the reed into place. And you want just like a hairline of black at the top, and you want it to be centered. So like if it was like this, you can see that's not centered, it's pulling over on this side. So take your time with it. It might take you a few tries to get it there. And then I take my ligature, and my ligature has its screws loosened, and you always want the screws to go to the right. So for me, that means I put it on this way, but yours might look like this and you put it on like so. So my ligature is just a little bit different, but that's how I put it on. And then I make any adjustments after, because you can see that ligature slightly moved the reed. So again, maybe I have to start over because now it's like this. And then I'm just going to put it on like that. It should be easy. If you're feeling any resistance, loosen your screws and make sure they're pointing towards the right. So again, your ligature might look like this. Mine is not that way, but yours might be, so check on that. Okay, now I'm going to gently screw the screws here until it's not tight, it's not clamping on, it's just not loose. So once it's there, you should be all set. Once your reed is in place and everything looks good, you can even hold it up to eye level just to make sure that you have that hairline of black at the top. It's pretty much even. We can do a sealing test just to make sure you got it right. You can also do this just with the mouthpiece, but I actually put the mouthpiece on the neck first like you saw, and then I put on the reed and ligature, because if I were to put all of this together and then put it on the reed, I have to grab this whole thing with my hand and twist it on, and that can make the reed just like get out of place again. So that's why I like putting on the bare mouthpiece on the neck first and then putting on the ligature and reed. So to do our sealing test, I'm gonna put the hole in the neck onto the palm of my hand, and I'm gonna suck in air. Okay, so that little pop tells me that it's sealing. The longer it takes for it to pop, like if it holds for a few seconds, the better. That means it's sealing really well. If it like doesn't pop at all or pops immediately, maybe check your reed again and make sure it's flat. If you want to know more about reeds and how I flatten them and all of that, I have a whole video on it here you can check out. But that is how you put this part together. Next, we're just going to gently screw it into the top here. You want to make sure this screw is nice and loose before you do that. So when I put the neck on, I'm just going to make sure that this line aligns with this rod right here. So I screwed on, and that looks pretty good. So make sure it's not off to the left or to the right, just nice and centered. And then I'll screw in my screws here. As you can see, I've done all of this, and then I'm going to put it onto the body. What you may see in some other tutorials, which is actually wrong, is they may actually put the neck on first, like this, and then they'll put on the mouthpiece and screw it on like that. But you really don't want to do that because it puts a lot of pressure and tension onto the saxophone, and it's just not very good for it. If you go to any like saxophone shop that has really expensive saxophones, they will always tell you to take off the neck, put on the mouthpiece, and then put the neck back on, and that will just protect your saxophone from any unintentional damage. Mouthpiece on, and it's a little crooked like this, like when you go to play, you're gonna notice your head is sort of tilting one way. You can just gently move it back to center. So now that you're ready to play, just make sure you adjust the neck strap so that the mouthpiece comes to your mouth and your mouth is not coming to the mouthpiece. So here you can see pretty good. I might raise it just a little bit, and that feels good for me. What you don't want is if it was too low and I had to really like bend down. That's not what you want. So make sure that it's adjusted to the right height so that it feels comfortable. And you can start playing. Now I'm going to show you how to take apart your saxophone and to clean it out. So now to take it apart, I take off the neck. I'm going to pull off the mouthpiece like so, take off the ligature, take off the reed, and I'm going to put my reed back into its protective case. So just slide it in gently like so. And in your saxophone case, you should have a rag with a weight on the end like this. If you don't, you want to get one as soon as possible. And I pull this rag through every part of the saxophone. So I start with my mouthpiece and just gently pull it through once, get the spit off of there. I'm going to do it with my neck, putting it in the bigger opening first and pulling it through the smaller opening. Finally, with the biggest part of the saxophone, the body, put the weight into the bell and feed that string through until it's pretty far down. And then I'm going to unhook my neck strap, and I'm going to flip the saxophone upside down with this part going to the left like so, and you can see the weight falls out. If it doesn't fall out immediately, try it again until it does. And then we're just going to pull this through. I'm kind of going in a circular motion so that the rag can get all around the sides. And then it should be cleaned out. If you played for a really long time and you have a lot of spit built up, I might do that 2 or 3 times, but for now, once it's just good. And I'm going to put it back into its case. You might have a topper or something like this that goes and protects this octave key right here, and so that's really important. If you want to know about any of the specific gear you see in my case or my specific mouthpiece, ligature, anything like that, I have a video on my gear here you can check out. And then I'm just going to put my ligature back onto my mouthpiece the proper way. And I actually have a little pouch I keep it in, but it's not necessary if you don't have one, so don't worry about that. And then just secure it. Close the case, put away your rag, cork grease, and neck strap, and you should be all set. Now, if you ever need to grab your saxophone from somewhere, the bell is a really secure place. I can move it around like this, or just where I naturally put my hands when I'm going to play, I can move it like this. You just don't want to like grab it in a strange spot like here. There's a lot going on and I could accidentally damage something if I'm putting my whole weight there. So usually move it from the bell or just how you are playing it. If you ever need to set your saxophone down, you want to do it this way. So these palm keys are facing up like this. This, if you put it on like that way where the palm keys are facing down, it's just gonna be a little bit less stable and less secure for your saxophone. So you have these long protective rods, and so it's best to put it with these palm keys facing up if you need to lay it down for a second. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below, and go ahead and check out this video if you want to know how to start getting a beautiful saxophone tone, how to play with a good embouchure, and to get started on some of those fundamentals. Thanks for watching. Bye!